Hi, my name is Laura Robinson, and for my new student dialogue, I participated in the Mental Health in College Students one. When I read the prompt, it stated that almost one-third of college students reported experiencing symptoms of depression. And this intrigued me because I've always been interested in psychology and in the mental health community. The prompt also stated that the dialogue was going to seek to raise awareness about the various mental health stereotypes and educate students on the realities of struggling with mental health issues while seeking an education. This part seemed great to me. I'm an education major and, frankly, a huge nerd. I love learning, so I was really excited to learn more about it. Learning is the operative word in that sentence. I was really hoping to see how people perceive mental health, and I was excited to discuss the impact of college life on mental health and depression. So basically, I was just learning to look forward. I was just looking forward to learning. Excuse me. Unfortunately, what I got was not learning. I got a support group. Instead of discussion, there was a lot of hand holding and crying and sharing of stories. Now, don't get me wrong, that's great. People really do need to talk and people need to vent about their struggles. But when the entire dialogue is just venting and sharing sad stories to the point where absolutely none of the actual planned activities were accomplished, it gets to be a little bit much. We didn't talk about the societal views. We touched on it briefly, but we didn't discuss it really. Um, we didn't talk about improving colleges to better suit individuals with these issues. And we simply just listened to people talking about their sad stories and their battles with depression and what they go through or what they went through in the past and why they went through it. So, again, that is needed, and I'm not trying to be insensitive, but it did make me a little bit uncomfortable. I don't struggle with depression, and there were clearly a lot of people like me in the room that don't. It almost left us feeling like odd men out because they were talking about how people who don't struggle with it can never understand and they can never fully be supportive and they can never really help because they aren't going through it. They've never been through it, so they're basically saying that like we are useless because we haven't. Um, they were kind of bashing people who weren't struggling, leaving us feeling uncomfortable. So I felt like if I were going to share my opinion, they would judge me and they wouldn't take it seriously because I haven't experienced it firsthand. So my opinion wouldn't qualify. Like I wasn't qualified enough because I hadn't gone through it. Um, the other huge problem that I had with this dialogue was that there was a lot of Clemson bashing going on. And this surprised me because I have a lot of school spirit, and I figured that peer dialogue facilitators would too. I mean, they cared enough to become involved in the CU1000 course, which shapes the freshman class, so I figured they kind of like Clemson. However, the girl leader, I'm not really sure of her name, repeatedly expressed her dissatisfaction with the school. She kept talking about how our reputation as one of the happiest schools in the country was a lie, and she also mentioned that she was glad Clemson lost its number 4 standing in that list because we were ranked number 4th happiest in the country. And she was happy that we dropped to 12 because that means that people with depression were no longer being ignored, and that she's happy because it just showed that the administration didn't really know what was going on within the student body. And I feel that Clemson is so involved in the student body that that's a really rude thing to say, and it sort of ticked me off. Her ranting was a little bit unprofessional. Um, However, there were a few good things. There was basically one good thing about the new student dialogue. We discussed the idea that many people joke about suicide and depression without really knowing the repercussions. They talk about it carelessly. And we discussed how it's really prevalent on Clemson's campus. Now, honestly, I've witnessed a ton of this at Clemson. I've witnessed it in my own small group of friends. I can't tell you how many times I've heard them say, oh, I have to wake up at 8 a.m. tomorrow, I'm going to kill myself, or something like, I got a C on that test, so I'm going to slit my wrists if I don't get an A. Obviously, my friends don't mean any harm. No one on the Clemson campus really does. They're good people, and if they understood what they were doing, there's no possible way that they would continue their actions, but it is awful to joke about. These issues are real issues that real people are facing every day, so it's not a joking matter. And I really liked the discussion we had on that, and we did discuss that matter, even though we didn't discuss much else. Um, so, to answer the required questions, I don't believe it was a dialogue. I believe it was a support group with a few minutes of discussion thrown in. The second one, there were both active and reserved voices in the dialogue. The active ones were the people sharing their battles. The inactive ones were the people like me who were uncomfortably left out. Um, the third question, I observed during mine because, again, I felt uncomfortable sharing my own opinion, and I felt that I would be judged because it was a hostile yet supportive atmosphere. It was very strange. It was like selectively supportive and selectively hostile. Not a good mix. Um, I think that Clemson's goal with the new student dialogues is to get us thinking critically about social issues that are going to affect each and every one of us, and I think that's a great goal. I just didn't see it working within my particular one, but I know talking to friends, there were some really cool dialogues that happened. Um, so that's about it. I know it sounds a bit harsh, but new student dialogues are supposed to be about speaking your mind, and I thought that I should speak mine. Thank you.